day more. I think it's the camera's like fish eyeing.
Yeah, the lens is
So really in the camera I got like 10 more pounds of muscle there.
dude, I have lost so much fucking weight since I got a girlfriend.
Normally it happens the opposite way.
Yeah, but you have to realize I don't have any body fat and I never do. So instead of getting fat, I just lost muscle. I was 175 when I started dating her, and I was 156 when I weighed in yesterday.
Okay, so you're doing the happy weight loss instead of the happy weight.
No, I'm not happy about it because the whole reason I go to the gym is to get bigger. I don't like looking like a fucking teenager.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Why do you go to the gym? You go to the gym to get bitches. Like, you're not an athlete.
Well, yeah.
You do it so you look good, and when you take your shirt off, look in the mirror, and then you get bitches that way. And then when you get one, not saying she's a bitch, I'm just saying when you get one, you're like, I don't need this anymore. She likes me for me.
Well, so she also does still think I'm attractive, and that's a pro. The problem is...
I don't know about that because you an ugly motherfucker. So
the problem is, if I'm under 165, I can't jack off to my own reflection.
Hey, listen, narcissism is tough.
Yeah, it's a real struggle. And so I need to start bulking again, but I also just hate bulking. Bulking's the worst. Cutting is easy because you just have to like not eat. And if you're a psychopath like me, that's really easy because I forget to eat.
Yeah, just don't eat. But bulking sucks. Like fucking Kyle at third floor.
Yeah.
You see him just sitting there eating rice and beans, hating his fucking life. Like, gotta add on 10 more pounds, bro. It's like, hey, just go to the gym, work out, get cut. Like, I know he's doing the fucking...
yeah, he does look good, though.
Yeah, he looks good, but I know he's doing the fucking... what's it called?
Bodybuilding competition?
Bodybuilding competition. I know he's doing that, so I get it. But, like, if you're just like a regular person, eat food when you want, then go to the gym, go for a jog every once in a while.
Yeah, if I do that, I stay at like 156 to 160 and I'm cut, but I just look at myself and my body dysmorphia is like, you look like you crawled out of a
Steve,
concentration camp.
Love yourself, bro. That's all you got to do.
Just
be a normal human being. Cause
I feel like loving yourself is getting yourself to the body type you want because you love yourself enough to work hard and get there.
No, loving yourself is looking in the mirror every day and going, you know what? You're a piece of shit, but you're my piece of shit. That's all you got to do.
All right. Real quick. This is something that's been driving me crazy.
What?
What the fuck is your Twitter handle?
Acrietta.
What is that?
So, like, the two places I say that I'm from, or the two places that, like, shaped me the most as a person.
Okay.
Akron and Marietta. So, like, I grew up in Marietta, which is, like, 30 minutes northwest of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Up in the suburbs. And then got family in Akron and ended up living there. And I like the people in Akron a lot more than Marietta.
Yeah.
But that was just, I saw that and I was like, God damn, I'm a genius.
I'm super dyslexic. I don't think I'm actually dyslexic. I might just be illiterate.
Yeah,
but every single time I see it, I don't know about you, but do you ever do the speed reading thing where you just read the first letter and last letter?
Nope, because I'm smart.
Yeah, you probably
speed reading is one of those things for dumb people to make them feel smarter than they are.
This guy takes 5 minutes to read one page.
I process the information, bro.
So whenever I see your Twitter handle, I read it as Akira, which is a super famous anime movie that's really fucked up. And like every single time it fucks with my head because I'm like, there's no way Nick knows what that is.
No, bro. You know the extent of my anime watching. What is it?
Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, because Dragon Ball Z was the shit. The coolest moment in television history. I've seen the Cavaliers win a motherfucking NBA championship. I've seen some other cool shit. The coolest thing that ever happened on TV was the first time Goku went Super Saiyan.
That was pretty rad.
He's like... And Frieza was looking there all pompous, like, he's not going to do it. And he fucking did it. And I, as a third grader, lost my fucking mind.
Hey, can we agree, though, that the show kind of fell off after the Cell Saga?
Well, I mean, I can't say that it fell off. That's just when I stopped watching it because, like, I got into high school and people would, make fun of you for liking Dragon Ball Z. I wasn't secure enough in myself to say that I liked watching Dragon Ball Z, so I just stopped watching it.
So I didn't get into anime until I got out of high school because
you're weird.
Well, no, because like I was one of the people that bullied all the anime kids.
Oh, so you flipped. Okay.
But like the reason why, and I think it's the reason why all the Dragon Ball Z kids got fucked, is because the Naruto kids were weird as fuck.
Oh, yeah. I got a buddy, Demir, up in Akron. He used to love Naruto, and he would do...
The stupid ninja run?
He would do that run up at the college radio station. He'd just run through the hallways going... And he'd be like, don't do that, bro.
Yeah. I mean, if you do it as an adult, it's funny because you're expected
ironic.
to be self-aware enough to do it ironically. But in high school, kids would do that like unironically, and those kids deserve to be bullied. So, like, I'm not sorry.
Yeah, fuck those kids for liking shit that they liked and having ideas that weren't everybody else's.
I don't care about their ideas. Just don't run like a goober.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, like, we do live in a society, so you can like your shit, but just don't be so out in the open about being weird about it to everybody else to make it uncomfortable. It's like, okay, listen, I like knowing that you like nerd shit. Like nerd shit. Don't run across the room like you're not a human being, dude.
Like, one of the things that sucks about being me and liking anime is I feel like I'm still on the side of the people that want to bully all the people that like anime.
Yeah, it's because you don't love yourself. We're back to this same
No,
point.
it's not that. It's that I love myself. I just hate other anime fans because I'm like, oh yeah, I liked this show because it like explored this bizarre topic about the human condition and made me sad. And they're like, oh, my waifu's this 13-year-old girl. And I'm like, that's creepy. Get the fuck away from me.
Yeah, I mean, there are some super fucking weird people that like anime.
It makes me sad too because like, it's worth watching, but then like you see the other people who are into it and you're like,
I don't want to be around y'all.
I don't want to be around y'all, and I want to stop watching it just so I don't have any attachment to you people.
Don't let me pick up any characteristics that I see y'all having. Like, fuck out of here. But that's why Dragon Ball Z was the best anime.
That's why because
it got everybody and had relatability, and it was cool.
That's why you need to watch JoJo.
No, I'm not going to watch any weird shit you tell me to watch. Bro.
Hear me out.
I promise you.
It's like Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, it's not because it's not Dragon Ball Z, but go ahead.
No, it's like Dragon Ball Z. It's don't watch the first season because the first season sucks. That's
the first thing anybody says about any show ever. First season, dude, takes a while to get into it. Second season, just skip.
No, I mean,
people
like
told me the same shit about The Office, bro, and they were right. So okay, go
but
ahead.
Like the first season and the second season literally don't even seem attached, other than that there's like two reoccurring characters.
Okay.
But the second season and onward, it's like one of the most entertaining shows I've ever seen, and it's bizarre, but in a way that like
it's not jarring.
No.
So explain the premise of this show to me.
Before I explain,
because all you've said is it's super fucking awesome. You should watch it, and that's a dumb thing to say to somebody.
So before I explain the premise, let me explain how the show makes you feel when you watch it. That sounds gay, but hear me out.
Yeah, even worse, bro.
You remember when you were a little kid and you'd wake up on Saturday morning and like your parents weren't awake yet, so you could have full control of the TV, and you're like, yo, I'm going to put on cartoons and eat a bowl of cereal. And you would just like sit there and watch Dragon Ball Z, and like they would be like sitting there like seriously talking about how they're going to fight each other really hard. And you're just like 8 years old eating your fucking Captain Crunch, just like, fuck yeah.
Fuck him up, Goku.
Yeah,
okay, so nostalgia.
Yeah, this show is the only show I've seen as an adult that made me feel like that.
Okay.
But
so already you're doing an esoteric thing of why the show's awesome.
So what it's about, it's about this family called the Joestar family. Okay. And as they go through the generations of the Joestars, they have to fight Dio, a gay British vampire.
You know what? I already fucked with the show.
So the second season perfectly encapsulates Japanese racism. And hear me out on this.
All right.
So the main characters go as follow: a uber Chad Japanese high school student, his American grandfather that was like the old school Chad, and then you've got their French friend who's a simp,
okay,
and a black guy from Africa, but not from he's from Egypt, which if you don't know this, Egyptians look more Middle Eastern. They don't look like sub-Saharan Africans. So the Japanese just think everyone from Africa is a sub-Saharan African. So he's like black and has the world's thickest dreads. And they have to team up to fight a gay Brit.
Give me your best gay British vampire impersonation. What does this dude sound like?
I can't even do it, dude. He doesn't even sound super British because he has such like an overly manly voice.
Let me hear it, bro. What does this character sound like to the best of your mental recollection?
It's not going to work, man. I don't do impersonations.
Just try it.
I don't.
Just try it.
I refuse.
Quit being a pussy.
No, I don't speak Japanese.
Then how the fuck do you know that he's British, dude?
I don't even watch the subs. I'm just fucking looking for excuses. I just hate doing impersonations.
Yeah, hey, see, we're circling back to I'm not watching this fucking show. That's what we're doing.
Dude, fucking, I'm telling you, you would love this show. So
why would I love this show, Steve?
So all the characters have superpowers that are shown in like a personified manner called stands. And half of them are really fucking cool, and the other half are like the silliest shit you'll ever see. The show constantly goes back and forth between being like one of the most serious shows I've ever seen and one of the least serious shows I've ever seen.
It's got a good balance. Okay.
And it's just like I said, it really is the only thing that's made me feel that like Saturday morning cartoon feel.
Again, your personal nostalgia is not going to make me want to watch this show. And the thing that would have sold me watching the show was if you could have impersonated the gay British vampire, but you couldn't do that. So now I'm sitting here thinking, I got other shit to watch. Dave's really fucking cool. I've been rewatching Scrubs.
All right, if I do an impersonation, will you watch?
I'm not going to make you a promise I can't keep, but I'm
then I'm not going to do it.
Hey, listen, Steve, you're the one being a pussy in front of your podcast. I'm just here as a guest.
Oh, no, I'm just standing firm.
No, you're trying to make a sales pitch to me to watch this goddamn show I don't give a fuck about, and you're not doing a good job of it. Actually, I'm telling you what I need to watch this show.
Now, you see, you're saying I'm not doing a good job of it, but anyone who's ever seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that watches this will just be like... No, Nick's dumb. Yeah, Steve's totally right.
Anybody who's ever needed a pencil and has written with one before is just like, people who don't write with pencils are fucking dumb.
That's not true.
I'm writing pen, dog.
Pens are nice.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. You're doing a terrible sales pitch. I'm trying to make you a better person.
All right, so the second season involves...
Still not doing the fucking impersonation.
Well, no, I already told you I'm not doing the impersonation unless you agree to watch the show.
You hold me hostage.
Yeah.
I don't negotiate with terrorists.
So the second season involves the Japanese kid, his American grandfather, the black guy, the simp French dude, and another guy traveling from Japan to Egypt to kill a gay vampire, British vampire that's colonizing Egypt. Mm-hmm. Because that's what the British do. They colonize Egypt.
Yeah. Got to enslave people.
And so the show follows them, like each episode for that season is them in a new location, and it like does
fighting
like
gay vampires.
No, usually they're fighting like his minions who aren't vampires. He was the only vampire, but his minions are all weird as fuck. Like for example, one of them was a orangutan that could create out of thin air a giant cargo ship that he could control. And they found him off the shores of, I think, the Philippines.
So basically, this show is, if you experience the same childhood as me and get super baked, you will love the fuck out of the show.
No. People who have happy childhoods like the show.
Okay, I'm glad you threw that disclaimer.
It's such a wild show that like, if you watch it, the first episode you watch, you're like, I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I kind of want to see what happens next. And then the next thing you know, you're fucking 8 episodes deep, and you're just like, I love JoJo.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Like, it pulls you in and makes you care about the characters. So we're not doing the childhood thing because you said it's relatable to people with happy childhoods. So now it just comes down to, if you get high as fuck, you'll love the show. And you and me already know.
No,
me and you get high very differently.
Yeah. No, the reason that it gives the Saturday morning cartoon vibe is because, like, as they're going to the different places, they give you like history facts about like the culture of the different place, the same way that like
I don't give a fuck.
Why don't get?
That's why I watched the Wild Thornberrys.
Well, that's
Same
my
shit.
point.
Yeah, but that is my nostalgia. I'm not going to create new nostalgia as a 28-year-old man, bro.
Well, you should. It's way better.
You should have got me at 13 when I was like, oh, yeah, I'll bet the no shit. It's not going to work.
I mean, I didn't watch JoJo at 13. I started watching it last year because...
but you're an insane person. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
So the fight is...
I'm not relating to the same shit you're
Here's what
relating
got
to.
me to watch it, because I was actually on the same boat you had, which is I'm not going to watch this fucking show. But
Who got you into it?
Twitter.
Okay, see, you're an insane person because I'm not taking a Twitter recommendation.
It wasn't a Twitter recommendation. It was...
yeah, you're seeing the timeline going, oh, this is what you should watch. And by the way, the fact that you're in anime Twitter timeline?
No, that's still not what it is.
Okay,
it was a combination. It was a combination of like across Twitter, Facebook, and everything else. There's just 8 billion different JoJo memes that show up in like every single like...
And you wanted to understand.
Yes, I wanted to get the memes. I was like, I don't understand.
Get off the internet. If you start not understanding shit that's on your fucking phone, go, I don't need to use this app anymore.
I use the...
Be a person, dude.
Hear me out. I like joining like the Facebook shit posting groups for different like niche things. And so... I'll like look at my Rainbow Six shit posting group and it'll just be like JoJo reference, JoJo reference, JoJo reference. And then I'll go to like
left out, so now I gotta watch this goddamn show.
And then I'll go to like a completely different group that has nothing to do with video games and it'll just be JoJo reference, JoJo reference, JoJo reference. And I was like, fuck it. I want to get it what they're talking about. So I sat through the first season and I was like, this show fucking sucks. And then I sat through the first episode of the second season. I was like, this show's amazing.
Okay, Steve, let me tell you where you went wrong. Because you had the right idea where you're like, you know what? This is some content that continually hits my brain and I'm not understanding it. I'm feeling left out. That's an okay feeling to have. Where you fucked up is you didn't realize the type of people that were posting that content are people you don't need to be. So you don't need to understand their shit. That's like where you got to make those cutoffs. Like, okay, we're talking about those kind of characteristics for the anime people. Don't want that. That's that shit.
You don't have to make the JoJo references to get them. But I will say, the JoJo references, the reason they got me into it was the memes are funny. Like,
not if you don't get them.
No, even when you don't get the context of where it came from, the setups are done in such an over the top way that when they make it into a meme, even if you don't understand what it's about, you just look at it and you're like, yeah, it's pretty funny.
You know what? I'm just going to take that characteristic. Also, I'm going to get another beer.
All right.
Are we allowed to talk about your drug use in this podcast?
I mean, yeah, me and EJ have already talked about our drug use enough to disappoint all of my parents.
Oh, okay.
As if I didn't disappoint them already.
Because you and fucking do drugs like fucking psychos, dude. You want to know how you're supposed to do drugs? You're supposed to do a little bit of it to just, okay, you're still you, but you're also getting this added bonus to your life. You're like, wow, the color is brighter. Oh my goodness, this perspective that I'm getting is a little different. That's cool. Y'all do this shit where you go, let me just get autism. And that's not okay.
I think you're missing the most fucked up part of it, which is that weed is a depressant. It's supposed to like calm you down and make you tired.
Yeah, so how fucking crazy are y'all just off rip?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
So now that you know how much I smoke, think about how cracked I am all the time. And the only stimulant I take is caffeine.
Hey, if you know that you're this high when you wake up, no caffeine, bro. That's like you know in your body. If I woke up on fucking 15 instead of 10 every single day, I'm not having one cup of coffee. You want to know why? So it's going to take me to 16, and I don't need to be there.
But I like being like that. I like being high energy.
Because you're used to it, dude. That's not like how it's supposed to be
it's nice.
No, you're supposed to be relaxed every once in a while. You're not supposed to... Okay. Most people... And I'm telling you this because you're obviously not a normal human being. Most people, you wake up and you go, oh, you know what? I started the day at 0. That's nice. I could, depending on what happens to me, I could go up, I could go down. You start your shit on 27 and go, how do I come down? You're a cokehead when you wake up, dog. That's ridiculous.
I'm the only cokehead that needs zero cocaine
to
be high.
Like that,
I just wake up just fucking pumped. I think it's.
I just wake up fucking pumped.
I just wake up and I look kind of sleepy for a minute. I move around and I'm just like, all right, I'm ready to not hold still until it's time to go to sleep.
Yeah, see, like, I'm going to be honest. I think that I have, like, problems with how I think and process information, and then you tell me the amount of anxiety that you just wake up with, and I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, if I hold still for too long, there's that voice in my head that says, one day you're going to die.
That's the same shit. I have this conversation with Idris all the time because he walks around with an insane amount of anxiety. I'm like, hey, dude, just don't think about it. He's like, you don't understand, dude. Like, if I stop, like, I'll die. Like, I gotta. I'm like, okay, well, now that you know that, you're aware of it, let's do things to taper that off.
So I think if you ever tried doing acid with me, you would either have the most fun time of your life or the worst. And it is 100% dependent on how physically active I'm being. Like,
oh yeah, if you got an outlet, you're not just being the same person sitting there talking about anime. Yeah.
Well, no, I don't talk about anime. I talk about like whether or not God exists.
Yeah, I think that's a normal conversation that people should have.
I take it to some pretty dark places.
I can imagine you do, because you're kind of crazy, and that's normal. That's fine.
But if you put me on a skateboard while on acid, most fun person to be around.
Yeah, because you're not just psychoanalyzing yourself in the meaning of what life is and why do I breathe and what is my purpose. Yeah, if you're doing something that takes away from that existential crisis that you're having. Yeah.
No, it's more like why do I suffer? And I've thought about this for a while. This kind of goes back to a conversation we were having before the podcast about like why I like watching anime, and it's like the like fucked up like and like views on like the human condition and stuff. And I was telling you about like a certain one, and you're like, I want to know about the guy who made that more than I want to know about the show.
It was the one about, he was describing terminal illness and what you go through.
It's like Bocarino or something like that.
I don't give a fuck what it's called, but that's the person you got to talk to.
I'm just saying,
how did you figure out that perspective?
Well, so there's another one, and it's called Neon Genesis Evangelion. And it's
anime kills it with the marketable names, bro.
Yeah. Well, most people just call it Evangelion or Neon Genesis. Now, it's like there aren't a lot of shows in general that I see that I look at and I'm like, this is a work of art. This show is literally a fucking work of art.
What do you define as a work of art? Because people say that shit all the time.
Something that causes you to experience the sublime.
Okay.
The sublime's it's a philosophical term. It
just makes you feel feelings when you see it.
So the sublime is a philosophical term, and it's when you see something that's like beautiful in a way that it makes you understand how small you are in the universe.
Okay. It humbles you.
Yes.
Cool.
And so what the show is about, it's got like the premise and then what it's about. So the premise is it's a sci-fi retelling of an old Jewish creation story told through the lens of like these like teenagers fighting angels and giant robots. Okay. God sent angels to the world to wipe out humanity because humanity did something bad. And your like the protagonist gets put in a giant robot that has to like fight the angels. And I'm gonna spoil a lot of shit because I don't expect you to watch this.
Zero people are watching.
And it came out in the fucking 90s, so if anyone ever stumbles across this video and you're spoiled, like you're an asshole.
Shit right now on the podcast going, I need to watch this and fucking spoil it for everybody.
But the giant robot was made out of his mother.
Okay.
It turns out God's trying to kill all the humans because the humans are attempting to use a piece of the first angel to cause themselves to. There's like the secret agency called Nerve. It's basically what Google's turning into, and their goal is to do the human instrumentality program, which is where they want to like cause all of humans to mold into one being
Be God.
No, not be a god. The idea is to return to the primordial ooze, to basically cease existence by existing as one.
Okay. Be God. That's what God is, bro.
No.
It's nothing and everything at the same time.
No, because the idea is more that they want to undo humanity from the universe, not supersede the universe.
But that's like that's a basic theme that everybody does because it's a real thing. We don't know what God is, but you can see what God is by what everybody is trying to be. Like,
no, that's in this particular case, like, that's not the case. It's the opposite. They're not trying to like supersede the universe into a higher being.
I don't give a fuck about this anime. I'm trying to have a conversation with you about how that pertains to society.
Yeah, but what you're making a mistake about is you think that the creator is doing this because it pertains to society, and that's where what the show's actually about comes into play. Because what it's actually about is it's an examination of why do humans suffer, and it was made by somebody who was greatly suffering. So the entire anime and the 2 movies that follow are literally a giant cry for help from the creator.
Okay,
and
that's sad.
Yeah, it's a very sad anime. That's part of why it's a like humbling thing to watch. But there's like something beautiful about it too, because it's like it's all about despair and everything. But it also shows the duality of that. So like there's a message of like hope in it. The end conclusion of the show is that suffering is the only inevitable part of existence.
No. What do you think causes suffering?
I'm about to explain that.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I actually do agree with that premise. It's that suffering is an innate cost of existence because
you believe that.
No, because you're existing as an individual that has your own will in a world with 7 billion other individuals that have their own will and goals, and it's impossible for everyone to achieve everything.
Okay.
And so suffering is the cost of existing as an individual in this world.
So
because
how do you lower the cost?
You don't. You accept that is the cost because the world is beautiful enough that it's worth paying the cost to exist.
So see, you just answered the own question of how to stop suffering.
Well, it doesn't stop suffering. It's more the acknowledging that suffering is going to happen and that suffering isn't the only thing because you won't suffer indefinitely.
So you're saying that I'm going to take this so I can experience that. But what is the basis of suffering in every person's mind?
Well, if you do it from like the Stoic definition, suffering is your view of the world not being in line with objective reality.
Ego. You think that you should have or be or do whatever, and it's not lining up with what you are.
Yeah, your view of how the world should be is not in line with how the world exists.
So how you minimize the cost of suffering is, okay, let me understand what I am, what I have, and then you can enjoy everything for what it is. That's where suffering comes from, is the ego, because the ego tells you.
Well, not necessarily, because there is also just bad shit. Like,
there is. We're generalizing. Obviously.
Yeah, like for example, if you're abused as a child, you're suffering as a child, but it's not because you haven't learned to just like enjoy being abused. It's because that's just a horrible thing that happens.
Right. But at some point, you get to I understand what that was. And I'm telling you, ego is literally the only thing that causes suffering.
Holding on to it causes prolonged suffering. But like where I'm talking about like the suffering stemming from the different wills of people, like if you're abused as a child, it's because somebody used their free will against you. And so
but also you get
suffering
to a point where you go, that had nothing to do with me. They were dealing with their own things. They dealt with it in the wrong way.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying you should hold on to it, but I'm saying in the moment that you're suffering when that happens, it's because somebody else is misusing their free will. There are like billions of examples of people misusing their free will in a way that causes suffering. And like, for example, a very benign minor one, people driving like assholes in traffic.
Exactly, because their ego tells them that A, I set the speed limit, what it should be, or B, I'm driving how I should drive.
Yeah, and I'm
not caring about anybody behind me. Yeah, that's ego.
And if you're stuck behind them, you're having to suffer from their use of their will. but that is the cost of living in a world that has that many people. But the world we live in is a beautiful world. Like there's plenty of reasons to be alive.
So if you, first of all, feel like we're talking everybody out of killing themselves today, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah. Welcome to Stephen Nick's therapy session.
But that's the thing is, if you understand that there are assholes in the world, then you don't take it personally, so that doesn't affect your happiness. You're minimizing the cost of suffering.
Well, yes, but
everything's
like
perspective.
Minimizing doesn't mean it's removing. You're minimizing the cost of suffering, but you're doing it by acknowledging that the suffering is going to happen. Because when you accept the suffering for what it is, you don't make it into something bigger.
But like I said, everybody's got ego, and the initial jump is if somebody's in front of you being an asshole, the initial thought is, fuck that person, they're not caring about me.
Yeah.
And that's the initial thought. But if you can erase that quick enough, because your first thought is not your fault. That's just your brain doing the protect me at all cost shit.
Yeah.
First thought's never your fault. It's how you deal with the first thought. That's your fault.
Yeah. Well, so that was kind of what the end conclusion of the show was. But it was fascinating because the show, when it came out in the 90s, blew up in Japan. And it was being made like week by week.
I gotta be honest, I could give a fuck what they're doing in Japan, bro.
Okay, but it was
live here in America, in Texas, where we do things right.
I don't, dude. Our animation industry is fucking hurting. Our comic book and animation
Jurassic
industry
Park
is
was cool.
Our comic book and animation industry is literally being overtaken by Japan in America.
Yeah, but like, what else has Japan got to do? Like, we make the cool movies with the Martin Scorsese dialogue and the Quentin Tarantino dialogue. Let them have the cartoons, bro.
I'm okay with letting them have the cartoons. I just want to examine why is theirs better than ours, and I think
because they're not better at doing what we do.
No, so I think I figured it out.
Okay, what is it?
It's because like when they do an anime show, it's based on an adaptation of a manga, which is basically just a Japanese comic book. But they write their comic books differently. So like they do it with the idea of having like a definitive
they go
beginning.
Right to left, don't they?
Yes, but not just that. They have an idea.
By the way, quick aside, we bullied a kid in third grade. His name was Sho, and he had all the Harry Potter books, but they were right to left. Just gave him shit. Sorry, Sho.
So
there's no reason for that. You were just different. We made fun of you for it, bro.
I mean, that is weird to have the Harry Potter books like that.
I mean, he was still reading the same shit we were reading. It was just like, hey, fuck you, faggot. You're reading it right to left instead of left to right.
But so like the American comic book industry is basically designed to just keep on shitting out new comic books about the same heroes indefinitely.
Movies.
Yeah. And our TV shows are designed basically to just try to get as many seasons as possible. Right. Whereas like anime's made from manga, which is usually made with a definitive idea for like a beginning and end conclusion. And at least the ones that become successful enough to like become popular in America.
They're still focused on the art, and we've become more focused on the money, is what you're saying.
Yes. Okay. And that's why our comic book our comic book industry is like fucking failing, and our animation industry is not doing better.
Steve, how old are you?
28.
Okay, don't read any more comic books. You found out that you're a cynical bastard because you see what life is. Don't read comic books anymore. They're for 8-year-olds.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's why I think like anime is becoming so popular in America, is because like they make that ones for adults where it's not like, oh, it's edgy. It's like, no, it's made with the idea of exploring like interesting topics like the human condition.
I know, but that's what allows people to make money in different ways here is once you get past, because first of all, there's one idea, and then everybody's going to whore off that one idea until everybody's used to that idea. And then you go, okay, well, I know that there's this idea that works, but this is who I am as a person. And you do that as actual art because somebody will go against the grain, and then everybody else goes, oh, shit, I think the same thing. You want to know why? Because we're all the same fucking person.
I don't think we're all the same person.
It's what pair of eyes you get to look through. We're all about the same person within a percentage of each other.
I disagree, but also I think that like our industry is eventually going. not eventually. It's going to probably collapse in the near future. And
I don't know why conspiracy theorist, Steve.
Dude, the comic book industry has been collapsing.
Oh, I thought you were talking about America in general. I could give a fuck about the comic book. You want to know when the last time I opened a comic book was, bro? 12 years old.
And that proves my point. That's why the comic book industry is failing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it should be a niche thing. It's not a mainstream thing anymore. This is in the 1950s.
Well, you say that, but
I got video games. I got porn. Why the fuck am I looking at a comic book, bro?
But here's the thing, though. Japanese comic books are becoming more and more mainstream.
You want to know why? Because their porn involves octopuses, so they have to go, you know what? Maybe we're pieces of shit. Let's focus on art again. That's what they have to do.
Okay, but we're pieces of shit that should be focusing on art, and we're not.
We haven't hit that point yet. We're still fucking stepmoms in our porn. We're fine.
So what I'm saying...
We haven't entered animals into the equation mainstream yet.
What I'm saying is our industry is going to fail because it's theirs is functioning better, and when that happens, one of two things is going to happen. Either the industry is going to cease to exist, or it's going to have to reform and start doing it based on what works. And currently, what actually works is doing it like
where you actually care.
Yeah, where you actually care instead of just whoring it out to like giant corporations.
Yeah, Steve, the same shit you described has happened for probably, I don't know, forever. It's, hey, let's get an idea, let's make it the most profitable. And then when that runs out and everybody gets tired of it, let's refine what the point of it was. Oh, shit, the actual art form. It's the music, man. Steve, you want to start a band?
No. Well, I think that's like, in and of itself, a flaw of the human condition.
In what way? Explain.
Well, because what we actually care about is like, as far as culture goes, it is art. And culture as a whole, but like, come on, lights. Like the feelings that we get with art and the ideas that they express. And so what happens is, when like a certain group or, like area starts making art that like starts captivating tons of people want it. And then people like natural human greed comes into play. And people are like, oh, I can use this to make money. And in an attempt to make money, they strip the soul out of it, and it becomes just like a vanity. Right. And when that happens, over time, people realize that, and they get tired of it, and they look for something else because it's missing the like element that made you feel something. And then the people who like did it to make money end up failing, and the whole cycle starts over.
I know, but that's the human condition. Like you said, what do we want? We want relatability, closeness, and safety. Safety being money. So it's the same thing when you talk to somebody. You're like, all right, listen, I fuck with you. You're cool. I understand your perspective. If you go do the same thing to everybody else, that makes me not want it as much. But if everybody wants it, then I kind of want it because everybody wants the same thing. That's all it is.
Yeah, but
it's that same thing. Is I want to be with everybody, but I also want to not be everybody.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, if we can identify that the cycle, we're at the point in the cycle where it's failing, why continue to be on the ship?
Because people with paychecks are going to continue to do the same thing to make those paychecks until their paychecks stop being the same paychecks they had.
I meant more on like an individual level. Like, for example, let's be honest, the like mainstream comedy industry in the U.S. is going to shit. Comedy Central has been a joke for a long time. As a comedian, why would you want to invest in like working for Comedy Central for a guaranteed paycheck now when it's obvious it's going to fail, and doing it on your own would set you up for success farther in the future?
Well, I mean, there's always two options. You can either play the game and take the safe route, or you can really believe in what you're doing, put all your eggs in one basket, and do it by yourself.
I mean, how is that not also playing the game? It's the same game. It's just that you're playing the game without...
Like when people say playing the game, that's, I'm going to put up with people that I don't give a fuck about. I'm going to say yes to ideas that I don't like. That's playing the game. Because like you were talking about with the soul thing, it's, I believe this is how my human experience should go, and I think this is how everybody else sees shit, because that's what my ego's saying. if I play the game, I'm letting go of that. That's selling your soul. That's why fucking 45-year-olds make YouTube videos where they're like, the Stones sold their soul to the devil. It's like, no, dude, they just stopped what they were doing to make money because it was easier.
Yeah, but I'm saying, at least for me on an individual level, I don't care about the easy route.
I know, because you're a crazy person. That's good. Hold on to that forever.
Like I also don't enjoy the easy route. Like I never have.
Suffering. We've covered that. You think suffering is a necessary evil of living?
I don't think it's a necessary evil because I don't think it's evil. Like
it gives you perspective.
Yeah, I think that viewing suffering as like evil or bad is the wrong perspective.
Well, you wouldn't know what good was. Hold on a second. This is my buddy. Hey, bro, I'm doing a podcast right now. I'll play Call of Duty with you when I get home. Yeah.
I'm not even on the game.
Okay, you drinking. Hey, listen, I'll call you back in a second. I'm doing something right now. Yeah, you often platinums, dog. I'll call you. Give me like 45 minutes.
Hey, are you bored or am I gotta wear glasses?
Man, shut the fuck up. You ugly as shit. All right, anyway.
Fucking
No, but bro, that's what I'm saying is there's the suffering part you think is necessary because it gives you perspective of, okay, if everything was good all the time, then I wouldn't know that it was good because there's no bad. And that's fine. That's why you say, when we were talking earlier,
right,
you're like, I like the climb. I like the struggle. Because then when you hit that top, you go, oh shit, I remember all the bad stuff. This makes it feel that much better. It's just perspective.
But from my perspective, that is playing the game because the game is the climb.
No. Well, we have two different definitions of what the game is.
So the game is the climb, but we both are aiming at different peaks.
No. You think the game in general terms of this is what I have to do to get where I want to be. And that's fine. I think of the game as how corporate people say, like, oh, you're going to play ball? Like,
shaking dicks.
Yeah. Like, that's why I got fired from Candy 95. It's the same shit. Like, they go, hey, we're going to give you this full-time job to add on to your other responsibilities, and we're going to give you 10% of what you make. And I go, you're giving me another full-time job. You're going to pay me. I'll make you a deal and have it be less than what the dude was making before me because I know what he was making, and you're going to pay me that because that's fair. And they said, you know what? Fuck you. I go, okay, that's fair because, you know, you got to – that's how it goes.
Yeah, and I respect you for standing by your principles there.
Well, I don't because now I'm fucking poor, Steve.
Being poor is not that bad.
No, it is, dude. That's why you gotta play the fucking game, and that's where the ego comes in. Because if I just go, you know what, I'll fucking do whatever you say. Yeah, here, I'll pull my pants down, stick your dick right in my butthole.
I think
I would be fine right now. I would still have my fucking girlfriend. I would still have a job. But what did I do? I stood up for my morals, and where did morals get me?
You had the wrong perspective because ego is why you're upset now, but you could just be proud that you stood by your ethics and then accept that the condition you're in right now isn't perfect, but it's okay.
Me better and stronger in the long run. That's what sad people have to tell themselves.
Not necessarily.
No, you have it. You literally. That's why they make those Facebook quotes that everybody shares. They're like, you know what? It gets better. Because if you don't, everybody would kill themselves. That's why you have to do it.
Here's the thing.
Hope is all you got.
I'm not the person that shares the quotes out because I don't need to share quotes because I just actually do stuff. The people who share quotes out it's totally different because they're doing that because they're not actually living the ideal that they believe in.
Yeah.
But if you actually just believe in like the morals that you stand on and something happens, like I've lost jobs before because I was like, hey, I'm not going to tolerate being treated like this. And there was a few month period of time where I would struggle and then I'd get back on my feet and then I'd be like, you know what? I'm in a better place now than I would have been if I had just stayed at that shitty fucking job.
Yeah. But also the in-between.
The in-between.
Thank God for the Facebook quotes.
Fucking the in-between is really not that bad. I mean,
it's not that bad when you get to look back at it. But day to day, because I'm living the in-between right now, Steve, dude, it's long, bro.
Building this studio, I've had a job and I've felt like I was unemployed the whole time because it's cost so fucking much. But like I've enjoyed doing it because it's something that like
It gave you purpose.
yeah, like this fucking
People
stupid
like having purpose.
this stupid soundboard cost me $600.
Yeah, but
But
the
it lets
price
me
didn't
do
matter.
it lets me do this.
9/11.
Fucking.
And that makes me happy.
You fucking. You go, hey, listen to this, and press that button. I go, this is exactly what I thought you had me put headphones on for, bro. Because you're a fucking lunatic. Like, yeah, of course that's fucking hilarious to you, bro.
Dude, I want to get one. Have you seen Mike Tyson's Mystery Crew?
Or is that the one where he's got a pigeon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the pigeon is voiced by Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
And there's this one episode where he's like talking to like a 13-year-old boy and he goes, "So, are you jacking off yet? Because if you are, it's weird. You're the only one who does it."
And see, that's some shit that's funny perspectively. Norm figured that out because as a 13-year-old, you're like, I'm not going to tell anybody that I'm jacking off.
Yeah, and now I tell everyone I dry jerk.
I'm still a dry jerker.
Dude, I was at work and I looked at EJ and I was like, what's a good ratio of dry jerking? And he was like, none. And I was like, I'm at like 100%. And the new waitress we have looked over and was like, what's dry jerking? And I straight up did not realize she could hear us talking.
Like, fuck, go away. This is not a conversation for you. So I got started, like, I just dry jerked because, like, that was the first time it happened. And I just kept doing it because I was like, I feel like if I go through all this, I got to buy lotion, I got to set the mood. Like, I'm a bad person if I go through all that stuff. Because, like, sometimes you just got to get evil thoughts out of your head. Like, hey, I see those titties. Like, let me just... I get that out, and then I can be a normal human being after that. Like, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah, I can care about your thoughts now because the evil is out of my balls. I don't need to, like, dim the curtains, fucking get the Jergens going.
It just takes me too long with lotion. I'm all about, like, min-maxing masturbation.
I'm not, like, sitting here trying to put a performance on for myself. That's what I fuck for. When I'm just doing it for me, I'm just, let me get to the point.
Yeah, it's
like,
a race to the end.
Yeah, like, I need to do this so I can continue on with my day. I'm not trying to, like, put on it. That's what I feel like, because I think that I'm narcissistic, but then I hear people talk about how they beat their dicks, and I'm like, you're narcissistic because you're doing all this shit for you. Like, bro, if you're lighting candles before you beat your shit...
Yeah,
go to church. You're a bad person. I'm
either
sorry.
that or just get a girlfriend. You're very lonely, clearly.
Well, yeah. I mean, some people don't have the personality. But that's the thing. You don't have the personality to accept another person in and to let them do what they want to do. By the way, that was a hell of a neck crack.
Yeah. Pretty proud of that
one. Around
one.
doing a whole lot of nothing all day for that one to come out, bro.
Fucking skip the gym today.
Yeah, attaboy. Me too. Did a whole lot of nothing.
I fucking I don't know. I straight up just can't fucking like jerk off with lotion anymore because it takes too long, and I just like 10 minutes and I'm like, I'm just gonna dry it off and dry jerk it. It's not the same.
No. Also, that's good. Let's end the podcast.
Wait, no,
on dry jerking.
Real quick, I got one more story.
What? One more story.
Because it reminded me of it when you were talking about K95. When I worked at Wayfair, I was talking to my buddy Josh one time, and I was quoting something that I think you said on like the Wednesday night before when we were performing at Five Knocks, and I said the word cunt. And this girl that was like 2 rows over, it was the end of the day, so there's no one really there.
Yeah, don't say cunt around people.
This girl that was like 2 rows over went and told my manager, and my manager pulled me aside, and she was like, it wasn't my manager, it was the manager that was in charge at the time.
Right.
She was like, hey, Steve, like, I really like working with you. I don't want you to get in trouble, but, you know, a girl from the chat support said she heard you say the word cunt when you were talking to Josh. I was like, I mean, I didn't call her a cunt. I was talking to him. I was quoting someone. I wasn't even being that loud. She's like, well, she was eavesdropping. She heard it. I was like, oh.
So she was.
Did you tell her that makes her a cunt? She was like, Steve, stop. I don't want to have to write you up. And somehow I received no punishment because there's no consequences for any of my actions.
That's a good moral of the story.
I think that's a good ending point.
Wrap this bitch up.